There's speculation that mobile phone carriers could be forced to pay as much as $1 billion each to renew their spectrum licences this year. The new licences are reportedly meant to boost federal government revenue by up to $4 billion. Communications Minister Stephen Conroy revealed confidential draft costs directly to the telcos just before Christmas. The revenue is expected to be included in next year's final budget to help the government's aim of returning to surplus by 2013. If the companies don't agree to pay the asking price, the licences will be auctioned off, allowing new competitors to enter the market. Opposition Communications spokesman Malcolm Turnbull joins us now to discuss the implications. Mr Turnbull, I guess it's fairly sensible of the government to be looking for a significant price considering the growing revenues for mobile carriers.
Well, the government's got to get the balance right. It's got to make sure that it gets fair value for taxpayers, but also that it doesn't seek to charge so much that it affects the affordability of mobile broadband and mobile telephony.
But this does seem to be, if you take into account the fact that it's 10 or 15 years since the last negotiations and we've got CPI, we're talking ballpark anyway, aren't we, for a reasonable price on this?
Well, I'm not sure where these figures have come from, and it's quite unusual for them to be leaked out in this way, presumably by the government, so I can't vouch for their accuracy. But I just say this, that the idea of them including these one-off payments in the 2012-2013 budget outcome is obviously designed to get that budget into a surplus, which it otherwise wouldn't be. Strictly speaking, these receipts the revenue should be staggered over the period of the licence.
Now, on another issue, the NBN, some results today that probably are pretty good as far as you're concerned. The opposition that there hasn't been the take-up expected.
Well, they're not good. I mean, they're really bad, and nobody takes any pleasure or satisfaction out of it. I mean, they are now so far behind in this rollout. After all of this time, all of this hype, all of these billions of dollars, there are 2,315 people in Australia connected to the fibre network and another 1,700 connected to their satellite service. So that's 4,000. I mean, it is truly pathetic. They have not been able to increase their connections since the middle of last year. In terms of their target for June 2012, this year, so 6 months away, they are less than 10% of the way towards their June 2012 target in terms of brownfields connections on the mainland. And, of course, when you look at greenfields, that's to say new developments, they've made no progress at all.
But the opposition has been so anti-NBN. You're running a dangerous game here, sounding like Luddites almost on one side.
That's quite unfair. I mean, I've been involved in the technology business for many years, in the telecommunications business for many years, more than I care to remember, actually. And I'm as committed to all Australians having access to affordable broadband, very fast broadband, as anybody. But the one thing I do know is that you should ensure that broadband is delivered, those upgrades are delivered as quickly and as cost effectively as possible. And what that means is that where there is existing infrastructure, be it HFC or be it copper, that can be used in order to cut costs in a manner that does not compromise your objective of getting very fast broadband to all Australians, then you should do so. And that's what's happening in every other country. I mean, leaving aside the fact that this is a great big new government monopoly, just from a technological point of view, what the government is doing here is quite unprecedented. They are scrapping an entire telecommunications network as though none of it had any value. Whereas with a little bit of intelligence and common sense and using technologies that are being deployed everywhere else in the world, you could get these broadband upgrades much more quickly and at a much lower cost. So this is all about management. It's about management and being businesslike as opposed to being reckless and wasteful.
Malcolm Turnbull, thanks for that view.
Thank you.